Many persons reject their marital home now because they never considered some factors before getting married. Many have thought marriage is just by reflex, or how I feel, or not emotionally. So now they enter the marriage and it starts from one fight to another until it becomes a disaster, all because they never considered these 5 factors. Number 1. Perspective. One of the first things to consider before marrying anyone is their perspective. This defines everything from the start. Some persons have already signed for divorce unconsciously before entering into a marital commitment. Marriage is not a feeling and achievement until this is spelled out. It is often said that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. When a person comes to you either on both sex, if you are a man before choosing that person, you must know what is the person's perspective about marriage. Sometimes, you get a lot of their perspective in communicating with them. In their words and actions, you will get a clear perspective of what they think about marriage. The same goes for the lady too. This is determined by how they are ready to submit to what God designed for marriage. Marriage is more than saying, I love him or her, and taking selfies on social media and showing the world how you feel emotionally. It is more than that. There are things to consider before marrying anyone. Check their perspective before accepting their hand in marriage. What is clearly stated in marriage is that you are required to leave to cleave. Some are still tied and controlled by their extended family. Do you still believe that men are cheaters and everyone they meet will cheat on them? So before they have predestined how their future in marriage toll be in their mind, which will play out in the future. The most important aspect of perspective is to know what the person thinks about marriage in terms of the role of the husband and wife. Do not assume. Ask and communicate with them to know what their perspective is, because females should know that there is an order in marriage. We are the same out there in our schools, offices, and work. But in marriage, everything changes. Marriage is not based on what you feel or your opinion. There is a lay-down way and structure of marriage, which is that the man is the head and the woman is supposed to be a helpmate. The woman is meant to submit to her husband, and the husband is meant to love his wife unconsciously, either she's behaving well or not. There is a hierarchy in marriage. You must consider this before marrying anyone, or else you might just make the greatest mistake of your life. Number 2. It is crystal clear that love is one of the vital elements needed in any form of relationship. This applies to marriage too. Analyzing your feelings and being sure about them are the first few things to do before marriage. Without you loving your spouse or your spouse loving you for who you are, the marriage is not likely to last, unfortunately. Before you say I do, be sure that you genuinely love your partner and they love you for who you are. Love is more than feelings and emotions, as was mentioned earlier on. It has to do with commitment, sacrifice, and dedication. Are you willing to love them unconditionally? The love that is being spoken of in marriage is not romantic or friendship affection, where you like the person only when the person likes you back. You have to love unconditionally and comprehensively. And does this person love me back unconditionally? After much time together with this person, you can know if they are committed to acting the same way as you do. Love is hard work. You should consider this before marrying anyone. Unconditional means that whether he or she will submit and do everything right as you want it. You will have to be patient, endure, and love them regardless. That is the love required in marriage. It is not intimacy or sexual intercourse that makes marriage work, because many have broken and parted ways loving each other intimately. It is all about the commitment that once I get joined to this person, I will commit my life, time, and resources to them, and I have decided not to turn back. It is one of the core things to consider before you marry anyone. Number 3. Effective communication. Communication is not as easy as we think. For every relationship in marriage to work, there must be availability. Being available all the time is not always easy as we think. You should also consider this before marrying anyone. Is the person willing to be always available to make the marriage work? When people are not always available, they assume things wrongly, especially the married spouse. It will take commitment and sacrifice to make this happen, whether it is convenient for you or not. Both of you must be willing and ready to make sure you are available and give up your time. Really, being married is a work of sacrifice because now you are single. You can go out of the house anytime and come back anytime you choose and want. But when you get married, you have to create time and come back early and now do things informing your spouse every time. Effective communication is where the character of the person is revealed. Does the person keep secrets or not? Does this person trust you and commit some things and treat you as special? These are questions in the communication you have to ask and observe in the relationship before getting married to the person. Number 4. Work. Another very important factor to consider before getting married to anyone is the financial aspect of it. Do not be deceived that emotions are just enough. Many divorced spouses have been interviewed, and the 9th% of the problems in marriage are tied to this. When many are choosing to get married, they never consider if the person has a means of financial income, especially for the man. Does he have a means of income and a financial plan for the future? If he doesn't, he's not prepared for marriage. Marriage is not a mere confession of, "I will be married soon." It takes place in wisdom to navigate the future of your family. It is always advised to marry a lazy and idle person because they will see the marriage as a means of business. After all, now dependence is on one side of the marriage and it causes imbalance and it always leads to chaos. This doesn't mean both of you should be millionaires or billionaires in dollars and pounds. No, work speaks about having something you are doing currently and being financially independent. This will solve selflessness and offenses among each other. It is so frustrating to not have the means to feed each other in marriage, and that is why this must be taken into consideration. Ask them about their financial plan. Something big starts from gathering small things. Whatever stage they are, both of you can begin, but he must have something doing with his hands. A strong financial beginning shows your commitment to yourself and your love for yourself. You only give to those who you love genuinely. Poverty and lack bring frustration and compromise in marriage, so you must consider this so well before jumping and thinking of getting married to that person. Number 5. Character. Consider the character of the person before marrying them. Every marriage crisis happens because people forget to apply and consider these principles. First, is the person born again? After then, watch out for their character. Attitude can be faked, but the character cannot be faked. Those who have bad character are usually red flags. In most cases of crisis in marriage, if we check well in the relationships, the signs were there that the person perceived that this person had a bad character. If you are open to guidance, you will never be stranded on who to pick. Watch out for their character. No one can pretend for long. It is not everyone that has godly and good character, even though who we say are religious because the church is like a hospital to treat sick people. So you meet all sorts of persons, so you can just conclude like that. You have to consider their character. Are they disobedient to their parents and leaders even at work? Are they rebellious? Are they faithful? Are they into fraud? Don't think you can change anybody. No one can change anybody. Don't say when we marry, he or she will change. That's a mistake, because when you marry that person, it is as if you marry every liability and asset. So make sure that the person has basic Christian character. Of course, not everyone will be perfect. They will have little flaws here and there. But there must be things within reasonable confines to check if this person is okay and qualified to be married. Yes, marriage is not based on gift or grace of selection. It is based on choosing by qualification. There are things that they can still learn and correct, But there are things that are spelled if you do not see in this person. It is not an option at all. When it becomes a character issue, you should consider this.